This is The Scoop for Friday.
I'm Sean Canan with the WMNF News headlines. A man convicted of fatally stabbing his cousin's girlfriend and the couple's 4-year-old daughter has been executed in Florida. Richard Knight was pronounced dead last night after a 3-drug injection at Florida State Prison. It was Florida's 7th execution so far this year, and it comes after a record 19 executions in the state last year. Tampa City Council voted 4-3 yesterday to approve a non-binding memorandum of understanding for a new $2.3 billion Tampa Bay Rays stadium and surrounding development. The agreement details a $976 million public contribution toward the cost of the stadium. $796 million of that would come from Hillsborough County and about $180 million from the city of Tampa. Outgoing council member Luis Vieira says it would not be reasonable to vote the memorandum down.
There are legitimate concerns that I obviously acknowledge, but to me, the good far outweighs the bad in terms of moving forward at this time. It clearly does to me.
Public comment was mixed. Some residents cautioned council members about making the deal, saying more conversations need to be had with the taxpayers. Stephanie Pointer says the decisions should be put on a ballot.
I have a real issue. My mom always said, my husband says, you can't spend other people's money. And if we are voting on this, and I understand the MOU and I understand how it works, but I also understand that you guys should not be making this decision.
Michelle Dyson, a bartender at Raymond James, Steinbrenner, and Tropicana Field, supports the agreement.
So when critics ask why should we invest public dollars into major sports development, the answer is simple. We are investing in our local economy, our people, and the future.
Guido Maniscalco and Lynn Hertak voted no. Bill Carlson, Naya Young, Luis Vieira, and Alan Clendenin voted yes. On Wednesday, Hillsborough County Commissioners voted 5-2 in favor of the deal. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration has released its annual hurricane season outlook. Florida Public Radio Emergency Network meteorologist Andrew Wolfeck reports NOAA is expecting a below-average year in the tropics, similar to Colorado State University's prediction.
A growing El Nino and hostile conditions are expected to take hold, meaning the hurricane season could be less active than is typical. NOAA is calling for somewhere between 8 to 14 named storms, of which 3 to 6 could become hurricanes, which includes 1 to 3 major hurricanes. The outlook does not indicate where these systems will impact, but the Gulf and the Caribbean will likely see reduced activity. El Nino increases wind shear and also tends to put a cap on sea surface temperatures across parts of the Atlantic Basin. Typically, the first named storm forms around June 20th, but because of the slower season, I wouldn't be surprised if that date is pushed back a couple of weeks, with the first activity not forming until sometime in July.
The Atlantic Basin hurricane season will begin in just over a week. On June 1st, the first named storm will be Arthur. The aircraft carrier USS Nimitz has been sent into Caribbean waters. The U.S. military's Southern Command, or SOUTHCOM, in South Florida confirmed the deployment to WLRN yesterday. The arrival of the Nimitz there, along with a strike group of vessels, is notable because it comes in the same week the U.S. Justice Department indicted Cuba's former president, Raul Castro. The U.S. is charging him with murdering 4 Cuban exiles in the 1996 shootdown of 2 small airplanes off Cuba. Castro insists the planes were a security threat, even though they were unarmed. President Trump has recently exerted heavy economic pressure on Cuba's government to make it reform or leave power, but negotiations with its leaders have appeared to stall. That raises expectations that Trump may resort to a military attack on Cuba. On Sunday, the Tampa Immigrant Rights Committee walked door-to-door on North Armenia Avenue in West Tampa. WMNF Sofia Caballero reports the group is sharing information with the community.
It's called a barrio walk, and it's a way to connect with potential targets of ICE. Tampa IRC member Yoon says that the walks are a way to inform the community of their rights.
And pass out know your rights information so folks understand what their rights are around immigration enforcement and that they have rights around immigration enforcement.
Each of the 3 groups were made up of 1 Spanish speaker and a member who had done a walk before.
How many routes we hit up, it really depends on how many folks show up, right? So we take as many routes as the number of people who show up can.
The Tampa IRC handed out flyers and read information cards. For WMNF News, I'm Sofia Caballero.
It'll be partly cloudy today and hot with highs in the mid-90s, cloudy with overnight lows tonight in the mid-70s, partly cloudy and hot tomorrow, highs in the mid-90s, and there's a good chance of rain tomorrow night. I'm Sean Canahan with the WMNF News headlines.
This is The Scoop, recorded at WMNF Tampa.